Hey guys, you're listening to Off Script with Ross and Dom. This is our bi-weekly podcast here at Res Life that hopefully will help you engage and become a better follower of Jesus. Our goal is that each episode, you'll find some information that helps you in your walk with God. Hopefully you'll find it funny and insightful. If you do, please hit the subscribe button as we'll be dropping episodes bi-weekly on Wednesday. If you don't like our content, hit the subscribe button anyway. We might get lucky one week. No matter what you do, thanks for listening. We're Off Script. Hey guys, I'm Dom.
And I'm Ross.
And we're Off Script. You have found us once again, our weekly podcast. Hopefully this will enrich your spiritual walk with God. Our goal each week is that you'll find a little funny. You'll find a little something that hopefully will make you say, And our ultimate goal is that we can help people and encourage people in their walk with God.
Yep.
So this last week on Sunday, I had a couple different people come up and tell me how much they enjoyed the podcast, how encouraging it was to them. Did you have anybody say that to you on Sunday?
Well, I wasn't here on Sunday, so no, I didn't have anybody say that.
Oh boy!
But I had a great time.
Yeah,
with some friends, some pastors at another church, but I'm excited to be back this week.
Yeah, if this is your home church, you know that oftentimes Pastor Ross gets asked to go and speak at a few different churches around our area, different guys that he mentors and boards that he serves on. So whenever we have a guest speaker, you guys can pretty well know that Pastor Ross isn't just on vacation.
Though I do vacation sometimes.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do. But most of the time, though, when you're not here on a Sunday, you are speaking at another church, and we appreciate the fact that you get that opportunity to do that. And also, we get to hear from some incredible speakers when you're not here.
Yeah, I mean, this Sunday it wouldn't have mattered if I was going to be here or not. When Abraham. Pastor Abraham from India says he's going to be in the States and he wants to come to the church. We clear the schedule.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Incredible missionary, born and raised in India, and just changing the lives of people in India like crazy. It's amazing.
I'm sorry, when you said born and raised, my brain immediately went to the theme song for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Again, individuals who listen to this podcast know that that's how my brain works sometimes.
And see, my brain, when you say born and raised, goes to the title of John Mayer's album, Born and Raised.
Okay. Two different things.
Yeah.
But they're both musicians, Will Smith and John Mayer.
Yeah. I guess we could call Will Smith a musician.
Okay, moving on. So since we didn't have a message from Pastor Ross this week, I thought that we would take this opportunity really to kind of talk about our experiences with missions, both overseas, because you've actually visited Pastor Abraham's church and had an opportunity, the school that he showed us video of and talked about. And then I thought I would just take an opportunity to maybe share some of my experiences, but also share with everyone our church's philosophy on missions, both here locally and overseas, so people can maybe get a better understanding of why we support some of the missions we support.
Yeah.
So why don't you start off and just share with us, and boy, people, you can't see this, but I'm pointing at Pastor Ross right now with my hand, like we're on video, and my hands are moving and I can't stop it. Sorry, Shane Humphrey, if you listen to this, you know. But why don't you share with us some of your experiences that you had in India? What was it, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, probably a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. We just had an incredible time there, seeing what they do there at Christ for India and the way that they minister to their people. We were actually over there for their yearly conference where all their pastors kind of gather together to get some training and encouragement. And so it was amazing, to be in a tent that fit 4,000 people. And
a tent.
Yeah, it is a tent, a giant, the biggest tent you have ever seen in your life, 4,000 people in it. And it was incredible. And they're all pastors and, pastors' wives and families that came from all over India. Many of them, it was a 3-day thing. many of them traveled 5 days by train one way.
Wow.
To get to the conference. And then they had to travel it back. So they had 10 days of travel just to go to the conference and then get back home. It's wild. Like one of the biggest undertakings that you could ever imagine. They come to the conference, they feed all of those people breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They all stay there on the grounds. Like they camp, basically. It's not like hotels, but people don't understand. Like, this isn't, when Westerners think of India, they think of like going to like Mumbai or like one of these big, like huge metropolitan areas in the South. And in the South, there's resorts on the ocean and all of that stuff. This is not what India is for people who live there. India there is, it is hot and dirty, and they live in tent cities all over the place and slums, and it's pretty amazing. It's not a resort on the ocean, that's for sure.
And that's their norm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is their life.
Yeah.
Like we go and we're like, wow, this place is like nothing I've ever seen. But for them, this is normal. And so just incredible to see all these people come together. We were there. We got to go visit some of the churches, some of the schools, some of the different things that they're doing over in India. But it was very eye-opening place. One of the things that when you go, and you probably experience this in some of your travels, is in America, when you honk the horn in your car, it's because you're angry. In India, it's because you really like to honk your horn. Like you want people to see you.
Yeah, most third world countries that I've been to, it's just communication.
And nobody's mad about it. Like it's just constantly honk, 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 everywhere you go. And you're like, and for an American, we're like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And they're just like, everybody's honking all the time, and there are people cutting in and out of traffic. There's no like real traffic laws or rules there. It's just cows are walking across the road in the middle of the highway when you're doing 90 miles an hour. And all of a sudden there's a bunch of cows just walking, and it's like nothing you've ever seen. You're next to a shopping mall that is like in Delhi. We were driving through. You're next to, they have these huge malls. Like if you think the Mall of America is like the greatest mall that there is in the United States, it does not even compare to every mall in Delhi. Like the whole mall. Imagine this. You go to the mall and every car in the massive parking lots, it's all valet service.
Ooh.
You go up
Fancy.
And there's somebody there, and they go park your car, give you a ticket, come back. And like, they're just massive, incredible. But literally across the street from the mall is a city block that is a slum that has 25,000 people living in one block underneath pieces of sheet metal and wood and pallets and dirt floors. And then right on the other side of them is another high-rise building that's filled with all kinds of businesses. And then, so it's this patchwork of really the elite and the very poorest of the poor people. Poor people here have it so, like, I don't want to like stereotype or anything. They have it so much better than what they have there, because it is the worst of the worst.
Yeah. I just looked up really quick. The population of Delhi in India, 34.6 million people, compared to the population of New York is just over 8.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's wild. It's like, I'm telling you, it's like nothing you could even imagine. We were told before we went by another pastor who'd been there a number of years before, you just need to prepare yourself. You're going to see people in situations like you could never imagine. You're probably going to see, people who are dead or things like that. And I'm like, really? Going to see that happen? And we did. We were driving down the road, and we witnessed a woman get run over by a car. And nobody really does anything about it. People ran out in the street, and without any hospital care, they just picked her up and tried to stand her back up. And we were right there. She was 3 feet outside the window of the car when they were picking her up. And they kind of picked her up to see if she could stand and let her go. And she just flopped to the ground, and she was gone. And so we asked Abraham, what happens here? And he says, well, I said, will they call an ambulance? He said, well, not usually. And I said, really? And he said, well, in the Hindu, beliefs, they believe in reincarnation. So if that woman had lived what they considered to be a good life and followed, the rules and things for being a Hindu person, then she'll be reincarnated into a higher class system or a higher being. And so as horrific that it was for us to see that, for her, or in their world, in their belief system, for her, they're like, wow, she's going to move on to the next thing that she's going to be made into. But because of that, they also like everything is connected in that faith. So like we were driving down the road and all of a sudden they slammed on the brakes and to where you hit the seat in front of you, and we're like, why are we stopping? And there was a king cobra snake crossing the road in front of us.
Okay.
And I was like, in America, we run that
That's
bad
right.
boy over, like go. And they said, we can't do that because there's beliefs that they could have been somebody's grandfather who died and was reincarnated to be that snake. And so if you kill it, then, and I'm like, wow, like just stuff you never think, you never imagine.
You would not do well there at hunting season.
Yeah, that
You'd be in trouble.
Really, I really don't think that that's much of a thing there.
It couldn't be.
I mean, I ask questions about it, but
I'm sure.
But the biggest hunting thing that I saw there was that we went to like a palace. We had a couple of days where we got to kind of explore for part of the day and go. They took us to some cool king's palace, back in the day, and they had mounted tigers all over the place. And back, years and years ago, that was a big thing by the wealthiest, that they would go into the jungle and they would hunt tigers. And so
I don't want to hunt anything that's hunting me.
I know. I feel the same way. So anyway, but as far as ministry goes,
yeah.
Abraham has planted, he said when he was here, 4,700 churches in his 50 years of ministry. He's started, I think, 12 or 14. I could get these numbers wrong, but I'm close. I know I'm close. I think 12 or 14 elementary schools, a couple Bible colleges. They've got 18 orphanages now.
Yeah.
And just all these things, all things that he never dreamed he'd do, but God just kept putting in front of him. And so he kept doing it. And he's got such a heart for the people there, but it's definitely, it's eye-opening to go there and then to come back here and realize like how incredible it is that we get to live our faith freely here.
Yes.
And how we take that for granted.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's kind of similar to, when last year we went to Nicaragua, and the area that we were in was a lot more rural than Delhi. We flew into the capital city of Managua, and that was obviously a very big metropolitan area. But you get a few hours away from that, and there would be a little city with a mall and everything like a city would have, and you'd get 20 minutes from that city, and there would be people living in stick shacks. Mm-hmm. And just the disparity that, from a cultural perspective of where people lived and how they lived mm-hmm. was so different. Here in America, if you live out, off a 2-track road and you live out of the city, that's a great thing for you, to have some property and a house and everything else. Most of the people that we found, the farther away from the city, the greater they were impoverished.
Oh, for sure.
And even to the fact of some of them not having, things as simple as running water. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I was really probably front and center for us when we went was the fact of just not being able to openly share your faith in a country, and not being able to openly criticize those in leadership and power around you, for fear of jail, for fear of persecution in the form of just being kicked out of the country. The organization that we were with has been serving in Nicaragua for about 20 years. And, they're kind of small and under the radar, but yet thousands of other organizations have been expelled from the country because they speak out against the dictator who rules there. And, here in America, you get the opportunity, and not only do we give you the opportunity, but we provide so many platforms for you to speak out against things, either speak out against leaders or to openly share your faith and openly share whatever you believe and think. And it's celebrated as a freedom that we have. And we just don't understand how other people in other parts of the world don't have that. I will say, I've been able to visit 4 different countries and do ministry. If you can count Canada as a different country, I did in college. I did a mission trip to Canada and helped out at a youth conference there. But Mexico, Nicaragua, and also Kenya. Those have kind of been my 3 overseas experiences, and all 3 of them were different. But I will say that there was one constant, I think, in all of them, and that's the dedication of the people, the believers that were in those countries was so, because to be a believer of Jesus in a country that does not openly want that for you, your dedication is on another level compared to what we have. When you talked about somebody traveling 5 days by train. Yeah. And these were probably not, luxury trains. This wasn't the Orient Express. This is like Amtrak. And just the fact that they would do it. We complain if we have to drive like 20 minutes in our air-conditioned car to go to church. And yet here they are traveling days and days and days to do that. It is just amazing. The dedication that they have. And I'm not saying that their dedication to the Lord is more or less than ours. It's different, and it helps me as a believer to put those things into perspective.
Yeah, I think their dedication is sadly it's more of a way of life than ours is, because we have resources everywhere. We have so many things where we can do stuff on our own, and they don't. Like when they commit to faith, they're committing everything, their whole self. Yeah.
And it oftentimes in countries that have maybe a different nationalized religion, they're doing so at great cost.
Yeah. In India, their prime minister is trying to turn the whole country back to being Hindu. And a lot of people don't know this, but the southern half of India, southern part of India is very Christian. Like, I think Abraham said when he was talking with me, like in the south, like 1 in 10 people is a Christian. And I think he said in the north, it's like 1 in 15,000.
Oh, wow.
Like it's totally different. Almost all of their ministry is in the north. And almost all of their ministry is not in the big cities. Like Delhi is where we flew into and where their base, like their offices are, or they don't really have offices. Their home that has their office in it. But out of there, they are traveling all through the countryside. And yeah, just like you were saying, you get 10 minutes outside of the big buildings, and it's sugarcane fields. It's farm fields with little huts, little nothing. The thing about the big city is the slums, they're all packed in it, but you get out there into the villages, and you're right, the dedication is wild.
Yeah.
We visited a school that they put in is amazing. Like not amazing in the way that we think as far as, schools here in America, but just amazing that they're there and what they have going on, and that hundreds and hundreds of students, Hindu kids that are learning about Jesus because their parents are sending them there because they get a better education at the Christian school than at the other schools. But when they wanted to go into this village to put a church in there, the guy, the pastor that they sent in there went to meet with the village like kingpin, because they have like a patriarch or whatever that's in charge of the village, each village. And he had his guys break the pastor's arms and his legs. And so he went to the hospital, obviously. And when he got out of the hospital, as soon as he could, he went back to meet with them again to say, I want to put a church in here. And they broke his arms and legs again. And then he went to the hospital again, healed up, and he went right back to the village again and said, I want to put a church in your village. And the village guy's like, are you crazy? Why are you back here? And he said, because, God told me I'm supposed to come and put a church in your village. And they said, well, if you put a school in for our kids, then we will give you the land to put a church in our village. And so we went there, saw the church, saw the school, the village, and now that's been there for quite some time. And the man who was the pastor there, we got to meet that guy.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
And he's there. It's like unbelievable to think that they're that dedicated to say, no, I want to share the good news of the gospel, and I'm going to go no matter what.
Boy, that's dedication to mission.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, maybe after the second time of having an arm broken, I may question, did I hear God correctly?
Yeah, right. Maybe that's not the spot
quite
for me. Yeah.
I do want to take a couple minutes here and just share with everyone kind of our philosophy of missions here at the church, because, oftentimes if you're newer to our church, you may ask, what missions you support and how you support them. And different things. And we really try to support a lot of different, I'll call them all missions, whether they're domestic organizations that are serving people in the name of Christ, or if they're overseas organizations. And there are a couple of organizations overseas. Obviously, Christ for India is one. Ma'oz Israel is another organization overseas, and Unknown Nations.
Yeah.
Those are three organizations that I think operate kind of similar in their structure, because they're really focused on not American people coming over and doing a work and a job, but really empowering local people to change lives in the name of Christ.
Yeah.
My first exposure to Unknown Nations, they had us read a book called When Helping Hurts. And kind of the premise of the book is that sometimes in our Western culture, in our wanting to do a good thing, we sometimes can do a bad thing. Meaning, we may look at a situation and say, oh, well, if I just, come in and pay some money or do this thing for someone else, it will help them. And it comes from a heart of wanting to serve and help others. But sometimes that can actually do the opposite, because it allows people to become reliant on other people and to look for the American missionary to come in and correct whatever issue is going on, and not empowering those individuals to really better themselves. Yeah. And if they're bettering themselves, they're sharing the gospel. They're not looking for someone else to come in and do it for them. Mm-hmm. So that was my early experience with Unknown Nations. And I know that the other organizations that we support believe kind of the same thing, that they really want to empower local individuals to go in and do the thing that needs to be done. And sometimes that's us just giving money. Let's be honest. Sometimes when an organization comes to us and says, hey, we need money to dig a well for water. We don't need you guys to come and dig the well. But we have local individuals and local organizations, and it also helps the local economy when that happens. But sometimes it's just our financial resources. And I believe firmly that the Lord has blessed us as individuals, and we're supposed to not only tithe, but give an offering and whatever that looks like for you. But I think, and we do that as a church.
Yeah, so our philosophy here as far as money giving to missions is that just like God calls us as individuals to tithe 10% out of what we've been, received out of the increase of our lives, we as a church financially, we give to missions 10% of what comes in and is received in our tithes at the church. So when we have finances come in, general fund finances, we know we're planning to turn around and give 10% of that out to missions locally and around the world.
Yes. So another great example of not just around the world, but locally, we have a lot of different organizations that we as a church support financially and our people serve in, which is a wonderful thing, because whenever we're able to do something like that in the name of Christ and in the name of our church, I believe that it lifts everyone up. So we do have a number of organizations, whether they're food pantries, whether they're different service organizations, even some of the governmental organizations in our area, we come alongside and we as the church say, hey, we want to help serve the needs of people in the best way that we can, and not to look for how we can do it better than someone else, but how we can partner with different individuals and different organizations to make that happen.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to money and missions is we want to make sure that the money that we're giving is going to reach people.
Yes.
Right. And so the missions that we support, that we've already talked about, some of them, you've already mentioned, like Christ for India and Unknown Nations, Global Outreach, which is John Varikin in the Spanish-speaking countries. Like those, we know those organizations. We know the leadership. We know where the money is going. We know that it's not, getting tied up in administration stuff. Mm-hmm. It's getting to the people. Jesus is reaching people through those finances. Same locally, like when there's a need, when we're giving money towards a local mission thing, we know where it's going. Like This is the need that's needed. This is the amount of money. We'll give that money in order to fulfill that need. It's not like, hey, we're just, we're giving you a percentage and you a percentage and you a percentage. It's like, okay, we know and we're thinking about where it goes. And so then we can have integrity with it. We know that it's spreading the gospel.
And sometimes there are those instances where there isn't a local organization to help meet a need.
Yeah.
And that's when we as a church get to step in and we get to fill that hole.
Yeah.
There have been individuals who have needed help with rent and needed help with housing or needed a car or different things. And we try to partner with a local organization and make sure that, we're not just giving people a handout, but we're helping them with those things. Yeah. But sometimes there's a gap. And, we also feel that as people who want to impact individuals and show them Christ's love, sometimes we have to fill that gap. Yep. And sometimes there isn't a program out there to help somebody, but we know that they need help anyway. Yep. And we step in and we do that. And oftentimes those things are done with no fanfare. Those things are done and people don't understand or know that they're happening. But it's one of the things that I'm probably most proud of our church, besides the fact that I absolutely love our church and I love everything about our church. But the fact that this church has a heart for helping people in our community, I believe is what is helping to continue to draw people to this church.
Yep. Now, of course, I'm sure somebody listening to this, and Pastor Paul, if he's listening to it, is going, "Oh no, Dom just blasted it out there that we help with rent or we pay gas bill or he probably doesn't." So if you're listening and thinking, "Oh man, maybe the church could help me," we have processes here,
absolutely,
that you have to go through to be able to do all of those things. You can feel free to reach out to us, but it's not even up to one of us pastors on staff to decide whether or not those funds go. We have a team that you meet with. That are trained in this, that are financial advisors that you will meet with, that's part of our church family, and they will decide how to help your need, and then they approve that to us, and then financially we help. On top of that, then we expect that you have to commit to going to financial budgeting and counseling with one of our people here who does that as a volunteer with people who are in need, because we don't want you just to get a quick fix. We want you to get lifelong help. And so there are some things that we do, but we want to help people. But we just want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. So if you ever had questions about that, you can come talk to Paul, and he'd be happy to help you, or reach out to the front office.
And even one of the things that I appreciate too is that we have so many giving individuals in this church that sometimes if there's a need and we put it out there to certain people, just out of the generosity of their heart, they step up to meet that need because they want to be the church to our local community. As we look at overseas missions, one of the recent ones that we have kind of partnered with is Vision Nicaragua. And that's where we took a group last fall and we did a mission trip. I'll actually let you guys know this first. We're looking at scheduling a mission trip the last week of January, first week of February in 2026. And that, again, I love the heart of their ministry that they have there. Even though it is a very impoverished country, even though you have to be very careful on what you say and who you say it around, everything that they do is done in the name of the local church. So we went to one village and we handed out the makings for soup for individuals that had cancer. So we would go to the local market and we would buy all the ingredients, the chickens, and which, let me tell you, that's an experience. A Nicaraguan market in a 90-degree day with chickens hanging from strings right next to fresh produce and all these, the hustle and bustle of everything. It's everything in the movies and more. But it was a wonderful opportunity to go and do that. And then we go with the local pastor and he takes us around to these different individuals' homes. And we're able to not only to see them and meet them a little bit, pray with them, and to know that that doesn't happen, because I asked the individual, I said, well, how often do you get to do things like that? And they said, well, only when we have a group come. And not every group gets to do this. We had another village that we went to and we did a clinic. And I was asking the mission leader, I said, well, how much does it cost to do this clinic? And she said it was about $300 US. For the nurses, the doctor, the medicine for a day. And I said, well, how often do you guys get to do this? And she said, if we're lucky, we get to do one clinic a year per village. Now they have about 20 villages that they're able to minister to. But I was just kind of flabbergasted by the idea that the once a year, if they're lucky, they get medical attention.
Wow.
And only if a group comes and has that in their budget to do it. And again, everything was done with the local church, the local pastor is right there, because we want everything that we do, we want it to point back to Christ. Like we're doing this thing, but it's in the name of Christ. And then the local pastor gets to introduce them to Jesus through the love and the caring that we give them.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's worth, praying about going and being part of. Like going to do missions. Like when that comes up in January, if you're listening to this, you're like, I'd love to go. Pray about it. And if God's put it on your heart, start saving money now because it's going to cost you something. But those things, they change the way that you see your own walk with the Lord.
Yes.
They change the way that you see other humans, other people. And they just work. That compassion of Jesus part that we read about in the Bible is sometimes hard for us to really understand, like having compassion for the hurting and the broken, because we live where we live. But you go there and it's like, whoa. And it brings you that perspective back with you.
I don't know an individual who I haven't taken on a mission trip and haven't come back and in some way that will live with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah. We traveled to Israel in 2018, and it wasn't a mission trip, but we support an Israeli mission called Ma'oz Israel, and they do a lot of different stuff there. Ever since the wars have broken out, so much has turned to relief, helping people in bombed areas or attacked areas, but then in the name of Jesus and ministering to them. But they're actually going to be here. On July 20th, we're going to have a Night for Israel night. It's going to be incredible. We're going to have the head of that entire ministry here to share with us all that they do and all of that stuff. But so you'll get lots more details on that. But it's just even going to Israel on a Christian tourist type thing. That stuff sticks with you forever. Yeah. Seeing the Holy Land, but then also seeing the culture there and seeing the different things. And it's like everywhere you go, it going and serving and being at a mission, stuff like that, it changes your perspective. And honestly, you can get a taste of that here.
Yeah.
Serving locally in the different ways that we do and the different ways that we can, helping with the homeless, helping with, the people who are down and out. it gives you a glimpse into and gives you the opportunity here to do it as well.
It really helps me to understand better that I don't understand everyone's situation the same, and to have compassion. I might not understand what that person's going through, but I can still have compassion for them.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, hey, we are coming up on kind of the end of our time today. So if it's okay, I'd like to pray us out. Father, I just thank you so much for the opportunities that you give us to expand the things that we know and do it in your name. I pray for the missions all around the world that are doing a work in the name of Jesus. And I thank you for them. I thank you for each individual who's listening today. Hopefully we're able to learn a little more about the heart of missions here at Res Life. But also I pray, God, that you work on the hearts of people, that you light a fire that people will want to yearn to know more about the work that you're doing around the world, and will want to go see that and experience that for themselves, and to share your love with people that they don't even know. Help us to do that right here where we are in Big Rapids, not only across the world, but help us to be compassionate and loving to those individuals that we see each and every day. In everything that we do it in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Hey guys, we want to thank you for being part of our podcast. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and also at rlcbr.org. Have a great week.